Might have been fireworks night on Wednesday, but there was nothing particularly explosive about a 0-0 draw at Salford on Saturday. Welcome as ever to your Monday review show, where we'll be talking about United's point and third clean sheet in a week up at Salford. I'm Julian Roberts. I have a usual panel with me. Tom Walker, how are you doing?
Yeah, marvellous, thanks. Good to be back. Been a little while, actually.
It has. I feel like the last pod us three were on was maybe the 0-0 draw at Tranmere.
Tranmere. I was thinking this.
Which-
I think that is the case.
That's a bit
Yeah.
foreboding, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not great.
Might start scheduling things differently after long away trips to the northwest. How you doing, Caspell?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. I felt a bit ropey this morning. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I felt right.
I felt a little bit ropey. That 9:36 a.m. tea time. Yeah, that blew the cobwebs through. I think I drank 3 Lucozades today, which is a new personal best.
Not that I make a habit of this, but I'm pretty sure you finished your round by the time I woke up today.
Is that right? Is that right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. It was about 1:30. I guess we were off.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that tally?
That tallies, yeah. Not great. Not something I'm proud of, Caspell. It's not something I do a lot of, but I clearly needed it after our big day out, which kind of not ruined by the football, but I guess the football didn't particularly help matters.
All that excitement, mate. You needed
All
the
that
sleep.
excitement, yeah. You've got to find something else to do, haven't you? Tom, where do you want to start with a 0-0 draw? Happy with that as a result?
Match action.
Yeah, match action done. How do you feel about it as a result?
Yeah, cruelly, we've missed out on a nomination for the FSA Awards again this year. But if we manage to string any sort of reasonable content out of this one, we'll have done ourselves proud, I think. Clean sheet, platform to build on, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think in an attacking sense, it's sort of, it's the film that we've seen before that we're kind of watching too many times, to be honest. I think like there are a ton of positives. I think. I think the obvious one is that we've gone to Salford and kept a clean sheet, which is not an easy thing to do, and they're sat third in the league. So, I think weirdly, we were kind of gloomy after the game, really, and a little frustrated maybe that we weren't a bit more potent going forward. But I think on the face of it, like you go to a side like that, we've obviously been tearing our hair out really about the away form all season, dropping points at places that we shouldn't drop points, or selling ourselves short against teams that we should simply be better than. Tram is a great example of that, I guess. But this one, it does feel a little bit different from that, just in that they are legitimately good side at this level. Obviously got players in there that can hurt a lot of teams and can hurt teams, throughout the season. I guess that's what they've done there. They're third in the league, and we've gone there and can't really think of too many times when we felt massively under pressure. I might be misremembering to some degree, but it felt relatively comfortable at the back. Don't think they troubled us too much. I think Harris takes a lot of credit, to be honest, for the kind of setting up in a way which was in terms of the personnel, in terms of the tactics, something that we know he doesn't like. In terms of 3 at the back, we know that's always going to be his second option and not his first choice. But he's implemented a game plan which has effectively nullified a really decent side, and we come away with it with a point. And on another day, maybe minus a little bit of head loss from the referee at the end, we might go on and nick it. But not to be. But I think all things considered, a pretty reasonable afternoon's work, I guess.
We'll come and talk about the ref a little bit at the end, because Harris himself obviously mentioned it in his presser. The actual sort of result, Caspell, I feel like there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. I mean, I would agree with Tom personally that I think you go away to third in the league and get a point, and I think you've just got to look at that as a good in any league by this stage. Like, they're clearly going to be one of the better sides in the division. Grimsby, the only other team to keep a clean sheet up there. They're obviously one of the more fancied sides in the league, so it sort of indicates that they score a lot at home. So I think there's a lot to be said for that as a clean sheet. It's the third clean sheet in a week. I know 3 different competitions, 3 different type of teams that we've played ourselves and played against. But still, 3 clean sheets is obviously good. But then there is the other side, where that's now 4 straight away league games where we haven't scored as well. This question came in from a friend of the pod, Alex, who said, can you take the positives of yesterday's game in isolation as a hard-fought point, or in a negative context of 4 straight away league games where we haven't scored? Where do you stand on that?
You got to go with the positive on this one. I do think that. I just think, as you say, league table suggests, the league table is formed out well enough now to reasonably suggest that Salford will definitely probably be like a playoff contending team unless something goes wrong for them. We've restricted them to no shots on target. That is quite impressive. Like
that is impressive. Yeah, like, that's a good thing to call out.
That is legitimately quite an impressive achievement in a football match. You could probably, I would imagine, count on one hand the number of times in my nearly 25 years watching Cambridge United where that's true. And that is actually, it is actually quite a formidable thing. I know it's not the most exciting thing. And I think that was it after the game, right? I guess I'm sort of, it's a bit on the fence, one foot in both sides. I can see both sides of this argument. I do think in isolation, that's a really good outcome and result. But the trend is concerning. And I think you were listing it out actually before the game yesterday. We were traveling up this run of tricky league away fixtures that we've got coming up. It's pretty serious for the rest of the calendar year. And you're actually looking at that run of games and you're thinking, God, actually, like, when are we, if we don't do the business at Barrow in a couple of weeks, when is it, December's away games are actually decidedly quite difficult on paper, including a very hard cup tie as well. So you're looking at it all, you're thinking, God, it's quite a lot of mileage as well, a lot of long distances, and also just how we're going to get on in that period, if you know what I mean. So I understand it. I think I'll go back to what I said a few weeks ago on the pod, which is just this like overall long-term observation of how a Neil Harris team is to watch, which is like when you're good, you're like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. That's like the high. That's as high as it goes, in my opinion. They do not seem capable with the lack of creativity we have. To, we went down to Cheltenham with Bonham 1-5-0. Just doesn't feel like that's remotely feasible. And when a Neil Harris team is bad, it is really bad, if you know what I mean. Like the ceiling is low and the floor is a massive fucking trapdoor. So it's like, and I again, we were saying it, this is starting to understand how Gillingham sacked him when they were 8th in the league or whatever, and just sort of starting to see how that's happened, even though at surface level, it doesn't seem particularly right or fair that a manager can be in that position, if that makes sense. Well, to be super clear, that isn't me saying Harris out. I have zero Harris out sentiment inside me. I just do think he's got to do something a little bit different in the approach to these away games to get a better outcome. On Salford, I think he did that. It's a new system, new setup. Pelly's hit the post. Brophy's winged one just past. We had a perfect angle on it. We'd have literally watched it into the top corner based on where we were stood. And I do think it's as simple to say one of those chances goes in. We shut the game down. We close it out. Might have been a little bit hairy, how some of these games can go with, 6, 7, 8 defenders on in the last few minutes. But you're looking at it then and you're going, we dominated the game. We restricted them massively. We got our goal. Not even a smash and grab. We just deserved 3 points. So I just think like on this occasion, we're the width of a post away from that being like a perfect away performance. So it just isn't going to set the pulse racing. And I think it's almost like, it's got to accept that it's unlikely under Harris that we're going to ever be a like swashbuckling, exciting team. The problem for him then is that the results probably do need to be a little bit better on the road. Otherwise, you're looking at like bland football that is also not productive. It's like, it's a long way to Barrow. It's going to be expensive. Yeah. It's a long trip. People like ourselves, even if we're very loyal home and away fans, are going to start to be like, well, maybe that's won't bother. Do you know what I mean? It's not really a big problem, but I just think in football, everything is about momentum. And if you start to lose momentum in that way.
Also, as a sort of side point, it feels like a very northern league, which I know isn't anyone's fault, but it just feels like there's a lot of trips in there, like you say, always doing like a lot of mileage. And I think with the thing that we were talking about yesterday as well with the away form is, well, firstly, those fixtures, just to list them out, are Barrow away, Stockport away in the Cup. This is just aways for the rest of the calendar year. MK Dons away, Gillingham away, and then Chesterfield away, back to back, just after Christmas. So that's a tough ask, all of
Yeah.
them, regardless. And you come into it 4 straight away league games without scoring. What we picked up 6 points on the road all season, I think. We're like fourth or fifth worst away team in the whole division. Like it's literally just the bottom four of the league below us, last time I checked anyway. And I think this discussion on Harris's like kind of approach to the game or away games is kind of borne out by some of the stats yesterday just of the game because you mentioned conceding 0 shots on target to a team like Salford. We also did only have one ourselves, and I know we had other chances, but that's just kind of illustrates it, right? That this is how he likes approaching away games. He wants us first and foremost to be really tight and solid and defensively sound, and then the secondary thing is to go and try and win the game. Really, go try to score some goals, which is kind of fine, but it kind of puts a lot of pressure on our home games, which was something we were talking about yesterday. That's like if your away form's going to be this bad, you want to make the playoffs, you kind of have to be nearly perfect at home. It's quite an unreasonable amount of pressure to be putting on your home league games. So the whole, it's just he does have to figure it out because I think it's like you're going to be needing like 2.7 points per game in your home form for the whole season if you keep doing this away from home. But on yesterday itself, Tom, as Caspell said there, he did change the approach. 3 at the back. Should we call it 5 at the back? Did you like that? And do you think we should continue with it? Because it did bring Mamadou Jobe onto the pitch, which in a game that didn't have a lot to offer yesterday, it's nice to just remember that we do have a really quality player in Jobe there, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was a surprising one. To mention it at the start, like we know categorically that 3 at the back is not something that he is a massive fan of. He said as much to us when we were watching him train and whatnot, like towards the end of last season. Like he was very, very clear that he felt a big problem with last season was that we were built for, or Gary Monk's preferred system was obviously 3 at the back, and we were kind of squad was built in that way, and he wasn't really too comfortable with it. So it's kind of square pegs and round holes and whatnot. So I think I do think he deserves a lot of credit for this. He's kind of gone against what we know is his preference. He's spotted an issue or potential issue. He's obviously acknowledged the qualities that Salford have got, and he's implemented a system which he doesn't seem to really like that much, in a way which has basically negated any threat from them. Like, like I think Caspell mentioned it a moment ago, like to restrict the side that's third in the league to no shots on target at home is just very, very good. And a lot of that does come from Harris. I think you're right about the personnel. Like, I think particularly in games that we've lost and dropped points in, it seems bizarre that Jobe's been sat on the bench at all. But I guess in a system where you play 4 at the back, someone has to drop out, and it's kind of hard to decide whether that should be Watts or Morrison. And I guess the kind of then obvious fix is, well, just stick all 3 of them in there and kind of, you don't want to like build your team around a centre back, because that feels really negative. Maybe feels slightly Harris, I guess, but but still, like I think to get him on the pitch is a good thing. I think as well as that, like we've said a lot, like it's a system which should bring the best out of someone like Liam Bennett as well. And I think when he's performed poorly, the team has generally performed quite poorly as well. So it feels like getting the best out of him, would be a really, really positive sign. I'm not sure how much we'll see this. I think it might be a kind of horses for courses type of thing where it's like, look, we've gone away to one of the top sides in the division. We're going to have to try something to really kind of limit their threat. And, we've obviously done that superbly. So that's real positive. I think one of the frustrations that I've still got, and this is regardless of system and it's regardless of even like personnel in there, it's still like just the middle bit of the pitch. And I think that probably Saturday at Salford is maybe a bit of a weird afternoon to kind of talk about this from, because I think Smith was pretty good, particularly. I think Pelly Ruddock had an okay game. Obviously, could have scored, but I just think for like the amount of cash that we must be paying out to central midfielders, particularly this season, given the ones that are on our books like Bull, Smith, Ruddock, McLaughlin, even like now you've got Hoddle in there as well. So collectively, like we're paying out probably more cash to send them in than maybe we have done before, and it just feels like we don't crave the ball enough. Like we don't crave possession in the way that I think a team with that sort of level of resource and like that level of quality, basically in centre mid, should do. Feels like we go into games where we're expected to have the lion's share of possession, and we go, shit, that's not ideal. Whereas it should be like that should be. Like we should want that. Like we should absolutely crave it. So that's something that I think we're still gonna have to work on, and we're still gonna have to improve. I think for the sort of game it was fine on Saturday, but probably not a lot more than that, I thought. might be harsh, but I am kind of judging these guys still a little bit based on CVs, and obviously that maybe hasn't kind of come through just yet. But yeah, I think brave from Harris to kind of switch things up a little bit. Pretty impressive that he's able to do it so effectively. And yeah, obviously, it ends up being a pretty good result. But I do think you have to view a lot of the way that you analyse this game just through the context of what our away form has been this season. Like, I do find it quite hard to just view it in total isolation and go Salford away, good point, good performance. I'm kind of looking at it going, there are still some themes there that are persisting from before, and that's a concern. But yeah, I think just on Saturday in itself, I think there's a lot we can take from it, I guess.
Yeah. What I don't kind of want to see happen is, and we'll talk about it on the preview, but it's Barnet at home this Saturday. And I kind of feel like, well, you've got your formula for your home games now, and you've got another striker basically fit and ready to go. I wouldn't, well, I don't know, Caspell, do you disagree? Maybe it's like, do you just want to see three at the back as like a system that we continue with home and away now? Or might it be the sort of thing where, personally, I think against Barnet, I'd want to see us play 4-4-2, go two up top again, go and win the game, because as we just talked about, we put a lot of pressure on those home games, and Barnet are not a particularly bad side at all. But then you've got like MK away in a few weeks. I'm just looking at some of their games, and they play three at the back, five at the back, so similar to Salford. So you've got it up your sleeve to match them up in a game like that. Or do you think it's just like, well, as Tom just said, you get Job on the pitch, you get your three centre backs on the pitch, do it at home as well. Why not if it's working?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I've been talking about it for weeks, if you know what I mean, for wing backs, and mostly it's about getting Job on the pitch, to be honest, because I think he's the best player in our squad, genuinely. Certainly with the most ceiling, if you know what I mean. I'll stick my neck out and say he'll play in the Prem at some point, which is big. It's a big shout. It's a big shout.
I'm assuming there, Caspell, that your expectation is that he'll leave the club at some point.
No. Let's say that he stays and he plays in the Prem at some point.
Yeah, three at the back's not that good, is it? It's decent, but it's not that good.
It's like Football Manager stuff. We're going all the way. Now, I sort of get where you're coming from in the home games, but I think the problem is, and we've seen this at Salford, really, like, this isn't to go boots in on the performance. Thought it's fine. It's a good result. All of that. Three at the back, four at the back, five at the back, whatever. It's not going to solve this creativity problem, is it? We have a massive lack of creativity in this football team. There isn't a system that's going to fix this, in my opinion, really. I think I was probably talking about it before the game yesterday as well, but that I was suggesting that it might need to be Brophy in centre midfield, because we need someone who has that job. It's like, get the ball, want the ball, travel with the ball. Like, it's not the easiest thing to do, but to be honest, if you're starting deep in the pitch, like near the centre backs, kind of quarterbacking, it is quite easy to progress the ball, if you know what I mean. You tend to be running at one of their strikers, and the strikers, they never want to actually press, you know what I mean? They just, you can skate those guys easy, and then you've got momentum and you're on the halfway line, you keep going, if you know what I mean. We don't have any personnel apart from McLaughlin, probably is obviously injured, out for another sort of 7 or 8 weeks, who seem willing to do that. And my view is, get Brophy in centre midfield. I still think the wing backs works if that's what you need to do to get Job on the pitch as well. And you can keep restricting teams like we have. Like, you can play a 3-5-2, right? There's a world where we can do everything that you want. Like, still have two up top. You still get wing backs, and you still have three centre backs. So you're solving for all those challenges, I guess, or like personnel issues, and like, how do we get it all combined, basically? So like, it is possible for us to set up that way. It's not me saying the system isn't important, and we have to acknowledge, obviously, what we're doing at home is working. Hasn't looked convincing yet, apart from Chester. Hasn't really looked convincing yet, but it is working, and the numbers are telling us it's working. But the system isn't the thing that's causing or robbing us of creativity. I think it is more like a personnel issue, if that makes sense. So, whether it's 4-4-2 or three at the back, I just want to see players with a better mandate to run with the ball, frankly. It looks like they don't have permission to really do it, or they don't seem to want to do it. I want to see people, being brave, picking up the ball and taking people on. And that in itself is quite exciting to watch, if you know what I mean. So, I think the system is slightly less important almost than how they are told to approach these football matches, basically.
It's that bit, isn't it? How they are told to. That's the interesting bit, which I guess we won't know the answer to, but whether it's a personnel thing in that they just don't, that's not part of their game.
It's too long. Like we're too far into the season for it to be too thematically similar. Yeah. A lot of our games look very similar, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, again, I don't want to go doomsday on it with Salford yesterday because we completely nullified them. But if, you know, that chance, which is in the running order, like if they score there, your whole game plan's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's gone. Like as soon as you can see the goal, Notts County was bad because it just felt inevitable and they obviously made some weird changes. But it was like, you knew standing there, if they score, this is done. This is a concluded football match, if you know what I mean. And that is a problem for us if we want to be a playoff contending side, basically.
Notts County is a great example of it, though, because at 60 minutes at 0-0, we're like marginally on top in the game. And then we changed the game like out of our favour, if you know what I mean. Like we then invited them on and then they score and it's like, well, now you've got kind of nowhere to go. Or like you're trying to defend this 0-0 draw in the 60th minute is an indication to me that, like you just said, to go back to the centre midfield thing or the ball carrying creativity sort of question, it feels like it's an instruction because it's a request from the coach. This is how I want you to play, and I don't want you to be taking risks with the ball, and I don't want to, etc., right? Because, as you say, it's too similar. It's too the theme is there. It's not just an isolated thing. On that chance, let's talk about a couple of little match action bits. There weren't many, but that chance in the first half is worth talking about because Tom just mentioned the centre mids. But should we flip the coin on the centre mids as well? And it's in the highlights, but it was bizarre live because we were kind of set up like pretty solidly. They're passing the ball around at the back. And then there's genuinely just this gaping hole in the middle. And all of us were like, where actually are Smith and Ruddock? Like,
it was funny, wasn't it? It's funny.
Genuinely, where are they? Like,
the move was so quick because they broke very quick. It was dynamic. And genuinely, I was like, I actually can't see them. I genuinely don't know where they are. I was like, I actually don't know where they are. Right, he's over there. He's over there. Like, what the hell has happened there?
And the Salford player like runs through, slips in the striker, 1-on-1, misses.
I'll say now, I'll let Tom have a go at it. If you do that in League One, you are 1-0 down. Like, it's gone. It's 100% gone. You are 1-0 down. Like,
I'd go as far as saying that most teams in this division, to be honest with you, like I think that's just a bit of good fortune there that the guy's not scored. Like, but yeah, I mean, both of you, I guess, the other side of the coin with the centre mids is also defensively, where like it just feels frustrating if everything we just said about the creativity and not being able to sort of affect the game with the ball at our feet. But then we're giving up chances like this and being like structurally disorganised in this way. I know it's one example, but it's still quite worrying, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at like I'm just sort of watched it back there myself. I'm looking at like a still shot of like just before.
Yeah, I did this.
Such a loser.
Ruddock's like sort of like top left corner of my screen, like nowhere near the ball, and Smith I don't think he's even in the shot. So it is quite confusing.
It's like one of those old spot the ball, you know, in the newspaper. We'll put the still frame out onto Twitter and get like, right, we'll AI them out. Like, right, you have to put a cross on this image. Where do you think our centre midfielders are?
It's quite bizarre to look at this.
It's insane. It was so weird. It was such a weird breakdown. The three of us stood together, and even in real time, we were like, "What is happening here? What has happened there?"
And not like it's not like they broke at us at pace in the sense that I know, you're right, it's quick and dynamic, but like we were set. Like it wasn't like we were.
That's what you're saying. Like one of them can be gone because that does happen because you get dragged out. You get dragged out, but the other one simply has to be there in that situation. If you know what I mean. I'm watching it again now. It's insane.
It's really weird, isn't it? But sorry, Tom, did you want to actually answer it? Like what the defensively, how much it worries you?
It did worry me. I'll say that. I will say, like, I think, you know, just trying to take yesterday in isolation as much as possible. It was a blip. Like it was an exception rather than the rule, wasn't it? I think we were pretty sound defensively otherwise, but when you watch your entire team sort of part like the Red Sea, it's a very strange thing. And I think Caspell nails it there. Like, you know, Salford in this league at the moment, especially, like they have to be considered one of the top sides, but that's a difference between this level and the one above. Like, you know, even like one of the sort of bottom teams in League One would punish you for that, and you know, obviously that's the sort of level that I guess we want to get back to, right? Is being a side in League One, and that's where you'd want to see that sort of improvement. But we're not there yet. But yeah, certainly need to ideally not leave the entire pitch totally open so they have a free run at us. I would say would be quite a good start.
Have you done your coaching badges as well?
That sounded very badgy.
That's very badgy.
I just speak sense. That's all I can say.
This is getting a bit GB news.
A couple other little gripes as well. We'll say that this is going totally off topic.
These going to be football themed?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Don't say a couple of little gripes after I said GB news.
No, that's used us after dark. You have to pay extra for that sort of content. That's coconut tier shit. No, I just thought for a northern ground, when I see pies, chips, and gravy on the menu before the game, I was delighted. But what came was just grey, just totally grey.
Yeah,
so I've derailed it a little bit there, but yeah, it's been playing on my mind ever since, and I think I can speak about these things.
Yeah. No, that was slight disappointment, but the ground itself is such a
it's just non-league.
It's just non-league, isn't it?
I sort of half expected to swap ends at half time.
You were happy. You were so happy with your ground tick, though, Jules.
Oh, I was buzzing. Yeah,
the look on your face when you walked in. Yeah, wow, like a kid on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it does really like put in perspective. Like when you see people who've completed the 92 and stuff like that, and you think you must have seen a lot of dross in that time.
Yeah, well,
real dives.
Tell you what we're not spoken about. That immaculately mowed stretch of grass just inside the turnstile in the away end. What the hell was that about?
It literally had stripes.
It was like being at the Masters, honestly. It was absolutely immaculate. I nearly did a Klinsman on it on the way out.
Do you reckon like Ian Darler's doing that? Like just random bits of the Abbey, he's like, oh, stick a bit of grass there.
Yeah. Watch this. There is a little bit more of the game to talk about, unless
match action. Yeah, we're just trying to spin it out. Yeah.
Real emphasis on the word "little bit."
Yeah. One other thing actually is Ferry hitting the post, which I think you mentioned a second ago, Caspell. Such a good strike. This I watched it back. Like it's a really well controlled strike, but obviously just falls slightly the wrong side of the post. Did I guess that's maybe a moment where you see Pelly's quality, which maybe we just haven't seen enough of, full stop, or as much as we'd expected to.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically pretty good, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like weaker foot, dropping on him, quite technically demanding. He struck it really well. He did about just everything you can expect, really. He was very tightly marked by the guy as well. So I think he did really well just to get a clean shot away on goal. It's just one of those. He just did so well to control it. To be honest, every other shot I think he's had for us so far has gone roughly 50 feet over the bar. Do you know what I mean? He's been skying all these volleys off the top of his boot and just sending them very high over the bar. So he did very well to control it. That's just one of those moments we were sort of behind it, and at least it was some excitement because thought maybe that's is it going in? No. No, he did it really well. To be honest, I thought it was one of his most positive performances. I thought for Braddock, I've been critical of some of his, I guess, the mismatch of expectations versus outcomes so far. And I still think he's got work to do to close that gap a bit more. But yeah, no, it's a shame in a way. You'd love to see that just crashing off the post. And just get a bit of a bundle on and go and get your away win. And honestly, we're still at that point in the season where even one away win now changes that outlook on the away games quite significantly, if you know what I mean. If you can go out to Barrow and win and then go and get a couple of points, even 4 points in the other aways in December, something actually the away form, it doesn't need to do a lot to be better. Do you know what I mean? We just need a couple of wins. One a month would be enough.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot, to be fair.
On that subject though, something that came out of yesterday, again, it just reaffirmed. We spoke about it directly after the game when we were in the cab back to the station. There's no one that good in this league. That's my one thing that I keep taking away from games. Us included, by the way.
Us included. That's what we kept saying.
Definitely us included.
Definitely us included.
But I was looking at Salford's side like that. Danny Udo's a really good player. The number 10, Aaron and Maya, I thought was is a good player.
Cole Stockton as well, mate.
Cole Stockton. I mean, they brought Fabio Barini on, by the way, which is a right laugh. And they've got these players, they're third in the league. They've got a good manager in Carl Robinson, and maybe a lot of it's to do with us and how we nullified them. But I just wasn't particularly impressed by them as a side. So Tom, is there? We've made this point a couple of times, but something that I just keep considering of as a positive is, in my mind, even if it's like mid-February and we are exactly where we are in the league, maybe like 6, 7 points off the playoffs or something, it might feel disappointing between now and then, but it really would. For me, it just to the same point you're making, Cass, about the away form. My sort of my impression is that I don't think it would take a lot for us to go on a run and break into the playoffs, even quite late into the season. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like there's no one, it's so bunched up there and there's no particularly impressive teams. I think every game is a genuine opportunity for us to take points in a way that in League One, for example, just isn't.
Yeah, I think this division probably more than any other really is one where your outlook can change very, very quickly. What was it, like 2 or 3 years ago when Doncaster, I think, were like 21st, and then they
Yeah,
ended
that's
up
it. Yeah.
like late surge into the playoffs, sort of post Christmas. Obviously, we don't want to give ourselves that sort of mountain to climb, but we're not like miles away. I think it has to be a league where, like, probably more so than any other as well, where that sort of that saying, like, never too high, never too low, like that really does have to apply. Like, you can't get carried away with a couple of wins, regardless who the opposition's against, because 2 or 3 weeks later, like, the entire outlook of the league changes again. With a couple of good results. That's where I think a lot of my sort of optimism comes from. I think at the moment is that, and I'm not going to claim to know, in as much detail about the other teams in the league as I might have done when we were in League One, but just kind of feels like there can't be many teams in the league and around that sort of mid-table bit, sort of outside the playoffs, basically, with, like, just feels like there's a lot more to come from us, and I'm sure that's something that, like, a lot of other fans of other clubs think, but still think there's a lot of players throughout the squad who we just haven't seen anywhere near their best yet, and that, to me, obviously, it's frustrating. So, to some degree, maybe playing within themselves, but does feel like the needle can shift quite quickly and quite a lot, and that's kind of where I draw a bit of optimism from. I mean, it's frustrating. Like, League Two is an intensely frustrating league. 'Cause it feels like it's almost impossible to put together any sort of consistent run. But I do still think it can happen. But we'll just have to, stick and bear it, I guess. But yeah, still very much all there to be won or lost, I guess.
I'm shaking my head because I don't think it's going to happen. sorry, mate. Happy Monday, everyone. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the thing you're waiting for is just never going to materialize.
It's not necessarily that I'm waiting for it. It's that the opportunity is always there. It's the thing that it's more about, like, I don't think the league's that good. Therefore, if we put that run together, I don't think it takes a lot. I don't think it's like a run of like 2 months that.
No, I do agree. I see the point that's being made. I think we could easily go into March or April and be like 11th,
exactly,
and win 3 in a row and be 4th. Do you know what I mean?
Like, exactly. And then the question is, and your point is, well, are we going to win 3 in a row at any point?
Well,
and I guess
you just need 3 home games in a row, basically. How do we?
Yeah. How do we engineer that?
How do we organise that? Maybe Bonner's got ripped the roof off the main stand again. Or
You're not fancying replicating what that Man United fans doing then, Caspell. You're not gonna stick in
yeah, grow your hair out.
Yeah, by the playoffs in April, Caspell sporting something absolutely like an absolute monstrosity.
No. No.
The only other thing to talk about with the game is the ref, I think, which isn't often a topic of conversation on this pod, besides the odd incident here and there. But I don't think it's something that it's not speaking for you, but it's not something that I particularly like find that interesting to talk about a lot of the time. Harris called him bloody useless, and he said that both dugouts thought so as well, which is always quite a bizarre thing when it's like, if the ref's been that useless but he's kind of not favouring either team, then surely it doesn't really make a difference. But like that passage, there is a passage right at the end, which is worth discussing, which from my memory, some people listening here will have a better memory of the game than me, but Ruddock was kind of on the break. It looked like in injury time we thought, oh, hang on, shall we actually have a pop at winning this game? And Ruddock's kind of on the break. His arm maybe catches the defender. It's one of those, like, goes down holding his head. I don't think there's anything in it, but ref's got to stop the game, take the player off. That took a couple of minutes, time that he didn't add on. And then the drop ball he did from, like, the touchline, which, Caspell, you actually enlightened me to the fact that it's his discretion where he does the drop ball. But why would he not do it where the foul was committed? And then secondly, and I think this is why the players were particularly fuming, is he then didn't add on, I think, any or at least enough time to the extra time, if that makes sense, for the player going off injured, and he blew the game up basically as soon as the ball was dropped. Fundamentally, it was a weird thing, wasn't it, Caspell? You're kind of you can be our resident ref watch. It was a strange little passage, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a weird. I mean, let's dissect it a bit. I thought the ref was fine. Can I just say? I thought the ref was totally fine.
I didn't clock him like impacting the game.
Didn't notice the ref. There wasn't really much for the ref to be involved in, frankly. There wasn't much to get stuck in on. I thought the ref was completely fine. I was a ref for a while. It's a horrific job, if you know what I mean. No replays. Dynamic thing, situation, lots going on. And
You've done your badges.
I do have the ref badges, to be fair.
Yeah, you actually have your ref badges.
Yeah, I've got the ref badges.
You are genuinely allowed to speak on this subject with some sort of authority.
Well, this is fun because theoretically, if we get the ref injured again, I could theoretically do the fourth official thing.
Do you think anyone's ever refed after 10 pints before?
Well, yeah. 10 pints.
Theoretically, he's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, isn't he?
Yeah. 10 pints and a skepasti from our good friends at the Old Spring, mate.
Yes. Nice.
There you go. Bash. Firstly, I thought the ref was fine. I think it's, to be honest, a bit unfair of Harris, and I'll say a bit unprofessional to sort of unpromptedly dig the ref out. It will get fined, which I think is just stupid. I just think
needless.
I think you gain nothing that way. You'll get no favour from any other refs either by behaving that way, and the refs will talk to each other. I'm sure they talk to each other, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. What a fucking boring conversation that was.
It's a bad group chat, isn't it? Unless they're all like your man David Coote, obviously. With the
I think that's. I think that's genuinely quite bad.
David Coote, Mark Clattenburg having a great night out. And let's just move on.
Let's please. Do you want to dissect the incident?
Yeah,
not David Coote.
Not that instant, mate. I'm not, or any of the other incidents. Jesus, God. The incident was just a bit weird. It felt like the ref had slightly lost control of the situation. And firstly, they've got to stop. If someone got a head injury, it's like whether they agree with it, whether they think it's. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about the risk reward for a ref. One day, if a ref waves that situation on, the bloke's like got a very serious injury. It's a very big. Do you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately. That has obviously, we've seen it quite a lot. It seems to be happening more in modern football. Players are abusing that system. And I know I'm a bit guilty of saying, definitely when we're in that situation, it's like, go down, hold your head. Do you know what I mean? And it's bad because it's not what we want to see. But it's like, if it is a way to gain a sporting advantage, unfortunately, if that makes sense. So I do think the Salford guy's probably having it on. But I don't really blame him for doing it. The ref then has slightly lost control because I think pulling the drop ball so far away from where the action stopped is unusual. Whilst it is like a ref's discretion as to how the drop ball happens, I think it's actually, I can't remember. It was a long time ago I did all the stuff, but I feel like they can actually drop it behind their back, if you know what I mean.
Oh my God, didn't he do that at one stage in this game? Do you remember? He did it round the corner. Like
a sort of, like a 12-year-old would do, like a drop ball. And Shazam, look at that, like a little spinny thing.
I forgot about that. That was the highlight.
So that was a bit of a match highlight. He just flexed the muscle on that one. But then, obviously, he got the magic spray out and put a little, it was all a bit weird. It was just a bit weirdly done. And I wasn't really aware of the time thing in real time. That would explain why the players were all up in arms. I think the point I made just before we started recording, though, is why did we wait till the 94th minute of the game to try and win the match? When, do you know what I mean? Is it really fair for us to get that frustrated right at the end when if we tried, it felt like a bit more momentum earlier, we could have scored a goal, just won the game on our merits in normal time and not, I just think it's a bit fanciful for the fans or for anyone to be apoplectic, oh my God, we were about to score then. We haven't scored for months away from home, if you know what I mean. It's a bit like when we played Stevenage away and obviously some idiot from our end threw smoke bomb onto the pitch and everyone was like, oh, and I was like, you're mad. What, we just crossed the halfway line. You think we're bound to score any second now? Do you know what I mean? Not a chance that we're about to score. So afterwards, I found it a bit funny and I was like, look, perhaps we should have tried harder to win the game. during the game and not like wait till the last 10 seconds of the game to try and win the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, weird little thing. Anyway, that's the game. One last thing I think that is worth mentioning is Parade came on. Actually, probably something to be mentioned here that surprised us during the game is that I was fully expecting, I think it was like 10 minutes to go, I was fully expecting him to come on for Kouassi. Didn't seem very Harris to then bring two strikers on at that bit of the game and kind of show a little bit of intent, right, Tom? But would you be interested next week, for example, if we start looking ahead a little bit, we'll talk about it on the preview, to see Kouassi and Apare playing together as a two, whether it's three at the back or four at the back?
Maybe. I guess just on the Salford game, I suppose maybe having, sort of 3 or 5 at the back, whichever way you want to look at it, that probably gives a little bit more freedom, I suppose, if you like to have two strikers. It doesn't kind of, like going from like 4-2-3-1 to 4-4-2 feels like quite a big change. Like it shifts quite a lot in the middle of the park. But if it's 3-5 something, I don't really think it matters too much if that's like a 1-1 or a 2. But yeah, I'll be interested to see them play together. I've said before, I think Kouassi looks like a really good player, but I think he looks in like a much better player with somebody next to him. And I think Apare is one of those players who like. You just do like all the running for Kouassi, really. Kouassi's not like, obviously gets around a lot, but it's something I think we have just looked better with 4-4-2 this season, just generally. The only thing, again, that I guess you would be a little wary of is, and it's thinking kind of negatively, I suppose, in a way, but if you have both of your fit and available strikers on the pitch at the same time, like, and things aren't going to plan, like, what do you then change? Like, do you then go, do you take a striker off? Do you, have to bring someone like Kachunga on, for example, which I think we're all kind of well past the point of seeing. So yeah, I think that'd be the only thing that would really be I'd be hesitant about. I suppose as well, how fit actually is he at the moment? Is he in a position where he can start games? I know he got a few minutes in our heroic win midweek in the Virtu, which obviously saw us through to the round of 32, by the way, which no one's mentioned. But and then obviously a bit of a cameo at Salford. Is he ready to start games? I don't really know, to be honest. I think you've got to learn your lesson from Lavery as well. Like, I get they're different players and they're different injuries and different situations and stuff. But I guess the point I'm making is you don't really want to go from a player playing no football to being like a regular fixture and starting lineup every week straight away. And I guess we're fortunate in the sense that we do have someone like Kouassi who is good enough to play on his own as well. So you don't need to rush him back necessarily. But I think if push comes to shove, I'd probably prefer to see them playing up front rather than not. But yeah, I don't know if we're there just yet.
Kouassi played well again, I thought, on Saturday. He just a quick one on Apare. If you haven't read Freddie's interview with him, it's worth a read over on undertheabbeystand.com. You've got to be a Coconut tier member to read that. £5 a month. Buy us all a pint. And yeah, I think that's kind of us done, lads. I think that's a good place to end. I mean, maybe just final word, Cass. We talked about this away form a lot. How big is that Barrow game for us, do you think? How important is it to go there and get 3 points, considering those other away fixtures that we listed?
Well, we always win at Barrow, so don't want to break that hoodoo. It's pretty important. It's not like the end of the world. We need the home form, obviously, to keep rocking and rolling. Like, that Barnet game is reasonably big because, again, I sound a bit doomsday, but it's like if the home form goes a bit iffy, we're not going to be feeling great about the overall situation quite fast, if that makes sense. So I think it's important, but again, it's all just context. Like Barrow, it is a hard place to go. They are a decent side. It's like if we go up there, it sounds a bit dour, but it's like if you can go up there again and get like a really good 0-0, that's not like a terrible outcome from quite a lot of our away games this season, if you know what I mean. It's really when you go into Barrow in the bottom six. They're not in the bottom six, are they? It's when you go into the bottom six that you want to be bottom 6, 7 or whatever. That's kind of where you want to be going and getting your results. So might as well loop back around to that Tranmere game and say, probably should have tried to win that Tranmere game because they're the opportunities you need to take when they're right in front of you, if you know what I mean. So like, I feel like if we go to Barrow and you go up there and you get another really solid point and we play well, that's probably going to be all right. But I know what you mean because we've got some really hard ones coming up in December. And suddenly, if we go to Barrow and we don't win, you're going to be looking at me going, are we going to win another away game this calendar year?
This year, yeah.
Also, I didn't go to Cole U, so
of which there have been 3 we counted, right?
3 away wins.
Huddersfield,
which I saw, thank God, and Crawley
and
Colchester. That's it.
I mean, if we did 3 away wins only in a calendar year,
slim pickings, isn't it?
Oh my God! Like, think about the amount of money per win that is for like us 3. Like,
don't.
Yeah,
don't.
Genuinely don't. Cool. All right, I think that's a pretty good place to end for today. Managed to get quite a lot out of a 0-0 draw with like barely any match action there. A couple of quick plugs. Obviously, thank you to the Old Spring, our sponsors. You know the deals there. Matchday Meal Deal, 10% off any other time of the week, or Saturday happy hour 6 till 7, which you can make the most of next week. A quick plug for the United in Motion Challenge, which is celebrating CFU's 25th anniversary. They're encouraging people to get active in November to make a difference, all in aid of the British Heart Foundation. So details on the CFU website if you want to get involved with that and make a donation. And the coconut tea I've already plugged. So I think that's us done, guys. Tom, thanks very much.
Yeah, let it be said, that is indeed the way the apple crumbles.